Hey, again, New Excellence 33. I wanted to do this video on the power of memory. So one of the shows that I spent a lot of time watching was Power, right? Cordy Kemp and Mamari, goes through his timeline of when he died, allegedly, of what his standpoint of was seeing that through his point of view as well as in Tariq's point of view. And see, the one thing I mentioned of that, not only from the show standpoint, it's the memories that we share as people, right? One of the things that I spoke on in another video of this being the year of the Jordan, right? Remembering the legacy of Michael Jordan, remembering, for me, it's the 23rd Psalms, right? Big Mama Energy, understanding last year the power of my grandmother and a lot of folks understanding how Big Mama Energy is starting to take its purpose here, right? I think when we think of shows like Lovecraft Country, right, and seeing the spiritual beings of what Big Mama Energy was, it's about seeing what's the fulfillment of what that destiny should have been consciously through a lot of losses from soul food, right? When Big Mama passes and or she's left to pick up the things from Papa being a rolling store and anything like that. That energy remits itself so we can carry on the legacy that is being brought, I think, to the forefront of things like reparations, the power of understanding our history as Black folks, and just needing to actually receive the reparations that we haven't received in what the Jews and other folks have received, right? But I think reading books like Powernomics, we're so stuck in being materialistic in America that we don't understand the power of our memories, right? So I think of what those shows dictate and how they process things into seeing things from points of view. I think that can be the very same thing of what slavery is, or what the memory of our folks that we loved, and the memory of what we perceive to what we believe is love to someone else, right? Again, a memory of what you had for maybe a fantasy, right? Or how you perceive someone to be through your light, right? They might not see you in that same memory, right? So you have to remember the focus of your memories, and their moments could be very different than what you perceived, right? For example, I could find a memory of, hey, I remember us having a good time. And they're like, oh, well, that's not how I perceived it, right? So the power of memory is about using your brain to not only heal itself, right? Often what you eat, there's actually brain superfood that keeps you. Vegetables are a very big important part of that. But it's also just understanding how to raise your vibrations and your tempo through your memory, right? The focus in the memory and the power of the mind is because the molecules and the things that allow this mind to grow, it makes you into a natural superpower, similar to Professor X, right? I mean, there is an ability to where cerebrally, you can find things that allow you to process not only hurt, pain, but there is a healing in tears, right? I learned from Queen Afua, for example, the power of actually letting your emotions rain down, letting those tears flow, right? When you're struggling through the pains of loss, through the pains of what you miss. I had some friends pass away who just lost their loved ones, right? Lost through fentanyl, lost their grandmothers, and not everybody makes it through those nights to where they're feeling that type of pain. And so the one thing that I speak with folks about, it's trying to find those memories, but not allowing that to take your heart out, because once you have that type of pain, you have to find ways to see it in a different light, right? Because the thing about the afterlife that I truly believe is, once those souls are left through the body is only one physical part. The spiritual part can now allow you to sit up, feel better, and raise yourself, right? I mean, we don't control the lives of others, right? As much as we would believe that, everything in society is managed by us as individuals, it's truly not. We are all living in some wave or frequency, simply like how the Simpsons show, right? Sometimes you're doing one thing and somebody's going to that next part of it, and you could have no idea of how that person is being intercepted in your life, right? There's part of things like the Truman Show, for example, one of those older movies that really feels like part of your life is almost lived by a studio audience. So you have to smile and just understand things that are maybe not what they seem, but if you have memories that allow you to feel good, to feel higher, to feel brighter, then focus on those, right? I mean, every day, as Denzel Washington says, sometimes that devil sits on you and tries to take your thoughts or take your mind or take your spirit away because it's so much. I wouldn't say it's easier to be negative, but negativity can follow you through other people's challenges, right? And so that's the biggest thing I speak with folks about. Do not allow the challenges of someone else to stop you from what you want to be, right? And that's the hardest thing with a legacy, right? I think of being a black man who didn't come from a family that had wealth still built in it, right? We were much like many black folks, consumers instead of producers, right? Owners. That process is all about building a legacy, right? You want to make sure your generation is better than the next. And that starts with understanding how to continue to build yourself, building your mind, building your body, building your physical, building yourself spiritually. As I do, it's all about continuing to speak highly of yourself, right? As Shirley Ralph says, when you look in the mirror, you have to love yourself. And so that's the biggest piece that I wanted to leave this video on. Understand that your brain and your memories and what you focus on and what you remember as something that may have been either a challenge or even a hardship. Try to learn from what those mistakes were, right? There's a part of your brain and your mind, as you see this big ass vein from my head. It's the patience, right? It's taking the time, take that step back, breathe in as I shared in the next videos or the previous videos, and just allowing yourself to grow. So again, New Excellence 33. Remember, light is what shines, light is what feels, light is what chills, and light is what's real. Holla.